a team set up for sustained success. For me, my favourite manager this season with what he's done with this side here. Could see them challenging for Europa League or Conference League football next season. It just seems at the start of a massive project here for the club. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Own YouTube channel and welcome back to our Bournemouth season recap here. And what a season for this club. A bit of a fanboy here, I'm not going to lie. But wow, what a year for Bournemouth. A team that no one really saw doing what they did this season. Record points, highest finish in a long time. And we think about Bournemouth, this small club, you know, the minimum sort of capacity stadium, and never the big money signings, and never really the extravagant style of football, but that's all been changed this season. They play in the front foot, they've drawn in some big players, and they've got a great manager at the helm, who I think is probably top 5 in the Premier League right now with what he's done last season. One of the great turnarounds, considering how poor they started the season off without a win in their first 9 games to where they finished the season off. It's super exciting, and the blueprint's been laid out. The football's there to be played. You get a few more players in, some younger players once again. And what's not stopping them from going and pushing on once again and maybe being on the brink of some Conference League football next season? We've seen across the last few years the Brightons break in. We've seen Newcastle break in. This year Villa sort of break into that mould as well. We've always seen teams break into these sort of positions to be amongst the big boys. What's saying Bournemouth can't be that next team to sort of break into that top 8 now, it sort of feels like, and compete for some European football next season. It's very, very exciting to see, and I can't wait to see what Iraola and co do next season, especially considering he's got that big contract extension, which keeps him at the club now, because that was the worry going into next season. Anyway, let's look back at their season. The season record, a very, very impressive 13 wins, 9 draws, 16 losses, 48 points, putting them in 12th place, a record points tally for them in the top division, which is very, very impressive for this side, considering, as I said, without a win their first 9 games, and I did make a video about them and their struggles at the start of the season, but they've turned it all around behind some really impressive style of football, that progressive style of football, which I talk about a lot here on this channel. And Iraola's sort of a lot of confidence in his players and set up a really, really confident system with some up-and-coming superstars that are delivering on a high level so far. Looking to their best signing of the season has to be Justin Kluivert at 11 million euros, 7 goals, 1 assist this season. Took some time to get his feet on the ground, but once he sort of established himself, so dangerous, either down the middle behind Dom Solanke or on a flank alongside Antoine Semenyo, super, super dynamic, and always seem to find the right pass at the right point in time. Yes, he can be wasteful at points in time, but when the ball's at that guy's feet in this Bournemouth side, he's the most dangerous, he's the most the most clinical in many regards in finding that ball. You know, not many players can attempt, let alone complete the passes he puts on the platter for some of these forwards and wingers. He gives them an X factor in the final third and gives them something a little bit different to what we're used to in Bournemouth. This is what I talk about, where there's that next level type of player, this young, youthful, exuberant, you know, outlet sort of player, putting his ability on show, showing the world what he's all about. And yes, he's not the finished product. Yes, he's not so, successful in some of his passes he makes and consistent, but he will constantly attempt the pass, and that's sometimes half the character of these good players in the Premier League and good players around the world of football, is they'll take on these passes that seem very hard at times or seem too challenging. And yes, only 1 assist, but he's so important for that front line and how it works. And you see, they look a bit disjointed when he's not there, and they really lack that X factor, that real difference maker in the final third. The 7 goals goes to show that as well. He's clinical in front of goal, and from sometimes a very deeper or wide position, the 7 goals has been quite successful in the season in many regards. Their worst signing has to be Tyler Adams, the big money, £20 million signing. Only made the 3 appearances, the 1 start, been injured. Yes, it's going to be harsh. They haven't made many poor signings this season, so he drops into that category. But it's a lot of what-ifs. If Tyler Adams had played a lot more this season, we see how good he was for Leeds in previous seasons. He's such a real feisty character in midfield, and I'm really excited to see what he can do next season. You know, you add that depth to the Cook and Christie midfield. It's just going to add a different sort of dynamic in there. They're so good pressing high up the pitch, Bournemouth. You had a Tyler Adams in there, a bit of a workhorse, an energizer bunny, someone that's not afraid to get a tackle in. Maybe allows a bit more freedom in that midfield area to allow Bournemouth to go and express himself next season. So very excited to see this. The big money signing from the season before, but if he can get a good pre-season under his belt, if he can develop some connection with those frontline players, could be a big move next season that we see him drop in the sort of deeper line position and you sort of fade out the likes of a Cook or a Christie in there to a more, I guess, high level quality player in Tyler Adams. So £20 million signing, big money, hasn't delivered, hasn't been available. As such, he's the worst signing for me this season for Bournemouth. Coming to the moment of the season now, and it has to be that incredible turnaround, the midweek tie versus Luton. They were down 3-0, looked down and out for the count. Second half, remarkable turnaround to win that game 4-3. That place was electric. It was buzzing. And you know what? That's a symbol of what Bournemouth were in the second half of the season. Never giving up, always on the front foot, always challenging sides. And you think about some of the games they still go and lose. They still are so impressive. The 1-0 loss to City. They lost that 2-1 game recently to Brentford, but they're always in the front foot. They're always creating chances, very comfortable in possession. And they just tore Luton apart. Once one went in, they just felt like they got a roll on. Enes Ünal has been important for them this season up top. Antoine Semenyo, dynamic in games as well. And that game, I guess, was a symbol of their season, really taking it to teams, never giving up, never sacrificing the way they want to play their football, which is always at you, always at your throat, playing with high possession, high pressing, and always threatening the goal and always delivering to the front three up top there, who I've talked about all year as being so impressive and really going under the radar for me this season. Talking about the breakout players, that sort of links that last point there. Antoine Semenyo, the breakout for me this season, fantastic. Wow, he's impressed me probably the most. Surprised I haven't got a shirt with his name on the back because he's been one of my favourite players this season. Again, the stats don't pop out, 8 goals and 2 assists, but whenever he is not in that side, you think of Kluivert's impact, takes it to the next level, times it by 10 with Antoine Semenyo, the direct running, the defensive cover at times, the way he keeps his width, the way he can skip past defenders. He's constantly a threat to that back line. He'll get into dangerous spots. He shoots. He attempts to get the ball into the area to the likes of Dom Solanke, to Kluivert coming in from the edge of the area. He's just a handful to stop. And I feel like the end product has developed as the season's gone on. Again, a little bit worse for the start of the season, but as the season got deeper and deeper, he's putting more chances away. He was getting more clinical. He's making the right moves and the right choices in the final third. And as a result, what a season he's put together. And I know it's 8 goals and 2 assists. It's not the 10 and 10 or 10 and 5 that some of the top players do, but he's not far off that. And if Bournemouth continue to produce and continue to play this aggressive, attacking style of football, there'll be more possession in dangerous areas and more chance of this guy to show what he's all about. And I feel like the difference, especially in the second half of the season, when he was there versus when he was not there, Bournemouth are night and day. He adds that he's a difference maker in the final third. He's dynamic. He's a direct runner. And as such, for me, these are the players I should naturally look towards. I enjoy watching these type of players. And they cause havoc in the Premier League. He's not the level of Anthony Gordon, but he's got that similar sort of mold where he's always going to run at that back line. He's always going to cover defensively. And he's just a handful to stop. When you see him on the team sheet, you think, I'm in for a long day here. So he, for me, is the breakout player of the season for me from Bournemouth. The player of the season speaks for itself as Dom Solanke, another player who's just lifted his game tenfold. A player that's been loaned around, not seen as that top quality player, but this season has gone and shown he has. And he's got celebrations in his back pocket as well. I love some of the celebrations he's whipped out this season. And he's had to, with the 19 goals, the 3 assists, outperform his XG by 3 goals. The striker for Bournemouth. Put the ball in his vicinity, it'll end up in the back of the net. There's times I don't play much in possession. They have to play a bit more, pragmatically and a bit more slowly. And when they do, he can find a goal out of nothing. But when they're attacking, when they've got a lot of possession in the opposition's half and they've got the possession on the edge of their own area, you look for this guy. They all naturally sort of fold in. They defer to Dom Solanke. And when they do, boy, some of the finishes this season with his head, left and right foot, running in behind the back line, dropping in short to link the game up. Him and Ollie Watkins' development have been quite similar. Obviously, Ollie Watkins comes into this season a little bit ahead of Dom Solanke, but they've both been exponentially getting better. And I feel like, as I said in the Aston Villa video, just unfortunate you got so many great strikers and probably one of the greatest strikers in England's history in Harry Kane going to this Euros, because these two could be leading the line for England in many regards. He's been fantastic, the work he's done, unselfish running, constantly pressing from the front as well, and done whatever Iriola's asked of him, and that's just been the difference maker for me. He's been such a hard worker, and he's got the results as a result as well. And again, not afraid to link the game up. 3 assists as well from such a focal point number 9 is very, very impressive as well. If he takes that to the next level again next season, Bournemouth are definitely a top half threatening team, because 19 goals this season's got them to sort of 11th, 12th position. What's saying that another 20, 22 goals next season can't jump them into sort of 9th, 8th, potentially 7th and a Conference League position. So very impressed with his work this season and definitely quite easily their player of the season. Looking to priorities for next season, and it's quite a similar theme Number one is to have to keep Dom Solanke and have to keep Kluivert, both been linked away. I'd always chuck in there Ilyas Arbani and Milos Kerkez as well, two players that joined this season as well, who I've quite enjoyed. I've definitely loved the work of Ilyas Arbani, but always Milos Kerkez as well, left back, dynamic runner, energetic up and back, can get forward, can apply a bit more pressure in the press as well, getting with his pace, getting high up the pitch. These are the three players, especially Kerkez, Dom Solanke and Kluivert, will be shopped around. Now that Iriola's staying, hopefully he can, ask these players to stay there for the project. There seems to be a really good project being built here. So American investment, improvements to the training ground, developing some new stadiums in the future, and there seems to be investment put in this side to develop it and develop a really strong mid-table, if not a top half side. And if they can stay here for next season, you can add a few more players to this project. There's a few players around the European football scene. I feel like you can almost nick from Italy, from the Bundesliga. You add a bit more depth and high quality X factor to your squad. Boy, it's a really exciting project to be a part of. So I guess priority number one is to keep these players. They've been pivotal to you this season, to Iriola's style of football, to that high possession, high energy style of football. So you have to keep these players first before you do anything else. And the second priority is to add a few more young midfielders in. As I said, Tyler Adams should come into that midfield there, but you add maybe a bit more of a dynamic attacking midfielder, a Force, a Tavernier, and a Kluivert out into the flanks and get a true number 10. Emil Smith-Rowe, he'll be around, I think, shop for sale. Do you try and get him? You look to the Bundesliga as well, some few really exciting young players. Maximilian Bayer, another player as well, really tall, lanky sort of winger, number 10, who I wouldn't mind seeing come to the Premier League. Can Bournemouth muster up the funds to get him across? You look to the Bologna side as well, a lot of young players there that you can get a handful of as well. Josh looked like he's leaving the Saudi League. Can you make the big move and get him across? A lot of discussions there to be said, but Bournemouth are this real deal, who I think they will be. And if Iriola is respected as much as I respect him amongst some players in the world of football, come to Bournemouth, join this project, because it is going to be very, very exciting in the future. So definitely add some young midfielders, add some young players around the park, develop this squad. But most importantly, number one, keep Dom Solanke, keep Justin Kluivert, and keep Milos Kerkez, because they're your foundation. You build around these young players. You've got a very sustainable future to come. Then that brings me to my season grade, and it's an A minus for me. Like, it is very, very successful. If they've gone and won a few more games to end the season off and got above the 50-point mark, definitely be an A to an A plus, but just fell short. A little bit on the beach in the final few games, but I can give them some rest for that. It's been a fantastic year, great turnaround. I've been Andone Iriola's biggest supporter this season. I think it's a fantastic call by the Bournemouth staff to end up sacking Gary O'Neill and bringing in Andone Iriola, bringing that Spanish style and the Spanish flair into the Premier League, and it's worked. He's been one of those managers alongside the likes of Sebastian Hoeneß, Xavi Alonso, these younger managers. Thiago Motta, who plays his more progressive style of football, that you throw numbers forward, you play with a lot of possession, fluidity in their formation, dynamic in the final third, pressing hard up the pitch, and not being afraid to just back down to any opposition. You'll play their style of football no matter who plays them. I remember that City game at home. They took it to Manchester City, and City were lucky to hold on. It's because this side, with this manager, they'll continue to get at you. And I feel like next season, you get some players to join the club, and Andone Iriola continues to play his style of football, the club's going in the right direction. A minus this season could turn to an A plus next season if they overachieve and get back into a top half finish next season. It's going to be a long process, but I feel like the club owners are backing the club. They're spending some money. You've got the money there. You've got some of the players there now. You've got the manager there now, signed, sealed, and locked away. This is a chance here for Bournemouth. This could be one of their most exciting periods of their club's history, because you haven't seen much success in the Premier League, especially in the top flight, and seen some work done in the second tier, but this is a chance to establish yourself now as a top half Premier League side. It's a big jump next season if they can do it, but I can back them in, because Andone Iriola's got that philosophy, he's got the players, and the club is backing him in, which is very exciting to see. There you go, an A minus for me this season, and with the future looking very bright for Bournemouth as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. How would you rate Bournemouth's season? How would you grade their season? Who would you see as their breakout player of the season? Who was their player of the season? Probably Dom Solanke in many regards, but let me know all that in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, guys, please just smash a like on it, subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more videos like these and more football podcasts as we approach the Euros, the Copa America, and some big transfer windows coming up before the 24-25 season. And smash that post notification bell so you know when we upload more videos like these. With that all being said, ladies and gents, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the upcoming football. videos, some football content coming up on this channel, and the football around the world. And I'll see you guys in a video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.